This is the terrifying truth about AI, UBI, and Bitcoin that nobody wants to talk about. In fact, this is the collision course that nobody in polite finance wants to even acknowledge. AI accelerated labor collapse, fiat-funded universal basic income, and a corporate Bitcoin singularity. I need you to imagine the entire wage ladder of our society pancaking in on itself, while balance sheets the size of nation states will vacuum up the remaining Satoshis. Over the next few minutes, I am going to connect three very brutal facts. Number one, AI is compressing payroll faster than any institution can react to. White collar, blue collar, it doesn't matter. If a transformer model can do it cheaper, it is gone. Number two, governments will paper over the social crater that forms with universal basic income, which is code for print money faster and hope that the mobs stay home. And number three, corporations who are armed with algorithmic leverage will treat Bitcoin as the apex collateral. They will loop their debt and their perpetual preferred equity to hoard the Bitcoin float while everyone else survives on their monthly coupons from UBI. The reality is that your last window to outrun this convergence is right now, literally during this presentation, before UBI locks everybody into the same fiat drip feed and corporate treasuries absorb what's left of the free float. So stay with me while I map the mechanics, quantify the asymmetry of this situation right now, and lay out an action plan that keeps you on the winning side of this timeline. Let's go. Right now, we have AI labor displacement, and this is a much bigger problem than a lot of people realize. We have 40% of employers already having reduction plans that are keyed to AI rollouts. McKinsey's latest survey shows that 57% of US work hours are technically automatable today, meaning that the pressure is here right now and not in some science fiction horizon. The first wave is going to continue to wipe out the routine middle skill roles, but the second wave is going to eat away at the white collar analysis and creative work. And every single wave will flatten the wage variance among the populace. So as the wages compresses amongst the workers in society, well, the traditional ladder that people climb to out-earn their friends and their family, that gets ripped out from underneath them. That means every single paycheck that you still receive before full automation hits is an endangered species. You need to treat it like it's a melting ice cube and convert it into sats while you still can. And if this is the way that AI is going to go, that means that universal basic income is an inevitability. Governments care about social stability above all else. So when millions of workers are structurally unemployable, the fastest pressure release valve is sending everyone the same fiat stipend every single month. Our pilot programs in Stockton, Ontario, Seoul, and Korea, and multi-EU capitals, they are already shifting from months-long experiments to multi-year programs. A national rollout turns into a monetary project that is measured in the trillions of dollars, which central banks will finance by expanding their balance sheets. The money printer will have to print, which will then further erode the purchasing power of the very UBI that they are issuing. And this is where it starts to get very scary. Once UBI begins, your income flow equalizes with the median citizen that's out there. So outperformance becomes next to impossible unless you front load the asset accumulation of Bitcoin right now. And when we look at the corporate Bitcoin adoption, well, what are we seeing? We are seeing the public companies and the ETFs out there, they're already locking up more than 7% of the total Bitcoin supply. And every quarter, that percentage is just going to continue to climb. So the corporations are going to save billions of dollars by firing their workers. Then they're going to recycle those savings into Bitcoin. And then that means they can borrow more against their collateral, which means that they can issue their perpetual preferred equity or just issue more debt, and they can use these algorithmic treasuries to just rinse and repeat and vacuum up all of the Bitcoin way faster than the individuals can. And unlike humans, well, the balance sheets, they never sleep, they never take a vacation, and they never hesitate. They will continue to acquire until the free float of Bitcoin is razor thin. The smartest way to front run the balance sheet hoarding is to secure your own allocation before their next quarterly buyback cycle hits the tape. If you put all of these three forces together, the picture is very simple. AI compresses wages, UBI flattens the earnings among the population, and corporations inhale the remaining Bitcoin supply. Your differential wealth path compresses into the present day right now. Every sat that you secure before the policy switch may decide your relative class position for decades. You need to grab Bitcoin now or accept the permanent financial parity with people who never cared to think this far ahead of the game. Look at this headline and let it sink in. AI displacement is going to happen in 8 years, not 30 years. The experts who gave us this 30-year runway just literally cut the clock to 8. Now, the first data point was that McKinsey study from last month. 57% of US work hours can be handed to algorithms right now. No waiting for AGI fantasies in the slightest. The code that exists literally today can erase over half of the tasks on every single payroll roster. The second data point supporting my thesis is from the World Economic Forum. They refreshed their future of jobs outlook and doubled its displacement forecast to 92 million jobs by 2030. The gut punch lands first on the entry level and the routine middle skill roles, but the damage ripples up the ladder inevitably. When the bottom rungs disappear, the entire wage hierarchy flattens. This isn't a gentle glide path either. This is a compression event inside of a single business cycle. Companies are going to continue to deploy AI. The margins are going to spike. The hiring freeze is going to turn permanent. And the traditional career-based accumulation path, the work harder, the earn raises, the stack more Bitcoin, that is going to evaporate. If right now you are counting on a decade of incremental promotions to build your wealth, the numbers on this slide literally destroy that assumption. You have 8 years, maybe less, before the conveyor belt totally stops. Convert today's income into hard assets like Bitcoin while you can still call it your income. Once millions of workers are structurally unemployable, the politicians have exactly one play. Mail everybody the exact same stipend before the streets turn into a live-streamed temp agency riot. This isn't some ideology either. This is literally just the physics in politics. This is what's going to play out. We have the pilot UBI program starting to be embedded right now as we speak. This is no longer a fantasy. We have the math of this program in the United States, some national UBI program, that would alone cost trillions of dollars per year. So the lawmakers are going to face two different funding levers. They can either raise taxes or expand the central bank balance sheet. Guess which one wins every single election cycle? The voters do not notice the stealth dilution until their grocery prices start to scream a little bit more, so the printing press will stay on. We know that the government's gonna run it hot. We know that the Trump admin is going to be aligned with the Federal Reserve potentially in less than 6 months. We just look to history's verdict of this pattern. From the Roman bread doles to modern quantitative easing, governments always choose currency debasement over overt taxation when social stability is on the line. UBI is going to be no different. The result is going to be systematic dilution of every fiat reserve that is held by savers. That is why you need to store your life energy into Bitcoin. The moment that the universal stipends arrive, that means that your income flow is frozen at the median while the purchasing power of that flow erodes in real time. So the only rational response is to front load the conversion of today's higher value dollars into Bitcoin before the money printers start to hum at full throttle. You can feel the ground moving beneath your feet right now. For your entire life, the way to outrun your peers was very simple. You earn more money each month, you save the surplus, you buy Bitcoin on your schedule. Income flow was the king variable in how you move up the social ladder. Promotions, overtime, side hustles, all of it fed into a steady stacking engine. Whether it was Bitcoin or actually traditional assets, assets. This is how people got ahead. They could differentiate themselves with the effort that they put in, with the income that they could achieve. But AI is making that increasingly irrelevant. The instant that the UBI hits, that engine seizes. The government benchmarks everyone's cash flow to the exact same amount. So the ladder of the variance in wage that ambitious people like to climb each year, it is going to be totally gone. The career acceleration is no longer going to matter, only what you already own when this switch flips. There is going to be a pivot from flow to stock, and your future edge depends on the pile of the scarce asset of Bitcoin that you can secure before this equalization. After that day that this happens, each monthly check will buy fewer Satoshis while those corporations in the background continue to loop their balance sheet leverage and absorb the supply. Every dollar that you convert into Bitcoin today will expand the gulf between you and the median citizen for the decades ahead. If you delay by a single pay cycle, the window is going to narrow. You need to act while the flow variable still belongs to you. And when it comes to the corporate balance sheet flywheel, you need to understand that everything on this wheel, it happens in one smooth rotation and it never stops spinning. Number one, AI is going to shrink their payroll. Software is going to replace meetings. It's going to replace night shifts. It's going to replace full departments. The labor costs are going to collapse, and that pile of freed up cash is going to look for a higher yield destination, which is Bitcoin. Then we're going to see the margins start to expand in these companies. Wall Street is going to cheer the new efficiency that AI is going to unlock. Obviously, the stock buybacks might spike temporarily, but the smartest treasurers that are out there are going to aim for a better compounding engine. And then that will lead to them buying Bitcoin. Cheap debt, equity issuance, retained earnings, whatever it is, it's going to pour into the orange collateral. Every single sat that's acquired from the company is going to lift the corporate balance sheet out of the fiat gravity. And then you're going to see the collateral leverage start to absolutely explode because holding Bitcoin unlocks larger credit lines, which finance the next round of accumulation outright. The wheel then completes its first turn and then it accelerates. This recursive loop is going to turn these public companies into supranational asset vacuums, and strategy is already showing that blueprint. You have to understand that once labor is totally commoditized, corporations and not humans are going to become the apex economic agents. In reality, they already are, but that disparity is just going to grow. Your job is to front run their next spin before they inhale the rest of the free float. Here is the crossroads that we're at. On one side, decisive action today. On the other is a permanent lag locked in by forces that are far larger than any individual. Think about it from first principles. Time itself just became the scarcest asset, even more so than Bitcoin. AI compression, UBI rollout, and corporate balance sheet leverage are three accelerating clocks that are converging onto the same moment in history right now. So every single hour that you hesitate, the free float thins, the stipend era looms closer, and the flywheel just spins faster. Asymmetry lives only in the present tense right now. Risk measured in fiat terms is noise compared to the opportunity cost of missing the final window to front load Bitcoin. Once the income ladder continues to be flattened, the class that you enter is the class that you keep until you are dead. Your future mobility is going to dissolve into a historical footnote. You need to act now because this philosophy without execution is going to be your nostalgia eventually. It is useless to understand these macro truths if they do not convert into immediate positioning. Your agency survives only at the edge. The crowd is going to wait for policy confirmation, but you need to move before the policy is announced. Remember, the crowd out there, they buy dips. You buy the silence before the dip disappears forever. History is going to remember this decade as the boundary between human wage economies and automated capital engines. The side that you choose today is going to echo across the rest of the century, and your bloodline needs to be well positioned. You need to act now. You need to convert the asymmetric upside into your lived reality, or accept a lifetime of parity with the average UBI stipend. The choice is yours, and the clock is already running. And if you want to be well positioned before this shift happens, Swan Private is for you. Visit swan.com/no-second-best to learn more. My name is Adam Livingston. I am the Bitcoin Wizard. If you want killer Bitcoin content every single day during the greatest wealth transfer in the history of humanity, like this video and subscribe to the channel, because we're going to continue to deliver just for you. We're spreading the orange gospel of Bitcoin, not crypto, every day, so thank you for being here with us. Have a terrific day. Do not party too hard. Class dismissed.